Monday evening to you, and thanks so much for joining us on Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and we are kicking off the work week with some really lovely weather outside. It's pretty hot across some areas of northern Michigan, but of course the big story is there is quite a bit of haze and smoke in the skies from those Canadian wildfires. And it sounds like, Joe, you mentioned in our earlier shows that we might have one more day of some hazy skies.
Yeah, I think one more, and then we should start seeing better air quality midweek. So if you're somebody who kind of suffers in these situations, you know, the air quality, maybe asthma, for instance, we should gradually see things getting better. I still think some tomorrow, but then by Wednesday, it looks like some of this will move out of the area. It's a nice day, though, and tomorrow we're in store for another warm to hot day, Maya. Some spots back near 90 degrees tomorrow. Wow. So, you know, maybe you have the day off tomorrow. I know Maya and I don't. But if maybe you do, a nice day maybe to head to the beach, or maybe you're visiting northern Michigan, should be a good one. We'll look at that, and when we may get some rain a little later.
All right, thank you so much, Joe, for that. Let's start off our show tonight with a pretty interesting question. Who owns the Upper Peninsula? It may seem like an easy question to answer, but it might also come as a surprise as to just how many hundreds of thousands of acres are actually owned by countries other than the United States. There is an effort in Lansing to curb foreign ownership, but a curious investigator uncovered that might not be as easy as passing a new law. Mark Shillette breaks all of that down for us.
Not going to allow a foothold for any foreign influence to nefariousness to happen in our state.
And that's why State Representative Cam Cavett co-sponsored this in Lansing, House Bill 4233.
We're very susceptible to that. People are nervous about that. And so much so that they've asked us to compile a law to prohibit our foreign adversaries, or principals is the term that they use, from purchasing agricultural land, which includes timber stands, here in the state of Michigan.
This doesn't say no foreign principals can buy land, but
the ones that you would expect: China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, and Cuba.
The motivation comes after recent high-profile purchases here in Michigan.
Two of them, the Ford cattle plant down in Marshall and the Goshen plant near Big Rapids, both have Chinese ties to the Chinese government.
This would put restrictions on a handful of countries when it comes to purchasing land here. And if they already own it, they'd have to sell it.
If you're a bad actor and your name's on that list, I'm sorry.
Enter Simon Schuster with Bridge, Michigan.
The original intent of this reporting was that because there's this legislation looking to target foreign countries of concern, I really wanted to find out how easy it would be to actually determine who owns agricultural land in Michigan.
As a tenacious investigator, he started digging.
Well over a month.
To find out who owns land here in our state.
These are records of foreign land owners of agricultural land in Michigan that only exist in paper in Washington, D.C. So if you want to get these, you have to file a Freedom of Information Act.
What he uncovered?
I noticed that one of the largest countries representing foreign agricultural land ownership in Michigan is actually Singapore.
He found 540,000 acres Singapore owns, roughly 5% of the Upper Peninsula.
In Gogabit County, for instance, they have a really large percentage. They have about a sixth of all of the land in Gogabit County, a lot in Keweenaw, and a fair number in Iron and Houghton counties as well.
Which, if this was law, wouldn't be a problem because Singapore isn't on the list. But Simon's investigation shows how tricky it can be to actually track down who owns what.
There's 7 layers of shell companies in between these LLCs that own the land and the government of Singapore and its sovereign wealth fund, GIC, that actually owns the land.
Simon found the UP land was tied to shell companies there, in Delaware, the Cayman Islands, and eventually in Singapore itself.
If you want to hide the ownership, especially the country of origin that owns agricultural land in the state of Michigan, it isn't difficult to do so.
This may help, and it at least sets up some rules.
I don't know that this bill necessarily tackles all the intricacies of how you could exploit that system a little bit, but it certainly goes after our foreign actors, and I believe it's a comprehensive plan that will allow us to do that.
But should it become law, will the state have the folks in place with the time and the skill set to do what Simon did? And will foreign countries still be able to hide ownership through shell companies and evasive tactics?
This is a reality of our international financial system that's really vexed the global community for well more than a decade, that there are these offshore tax havens that make it really difficult to find out who owns these assets.
That was our Mark Shillette reporting. And again, Singapore, the foreign state which Simon uncovered owns 5% of the Upper Peninsula, would not be included in this legislation. Now, the legislation has passed the Michigan House, so we'll head to the Senate for its consideration. We will continue to follow its progress and update you as it makes its way through Lansing. You can find more information over on our website, UpNorthLive.com. That's also where you'll find our question of the day. You can scan this QR code to take you there and you can vote. The question today is, do you agree with House Bill 4233 that we just heard in Mark's story, prohibiting certain foreign ownership of real estate, including timber and agricultural property in Michigan? Right now we have 284 votes. Safe to say a majority are voting yes, they do agree with this House bill. We also have about 70 comments over on Facebook, so make sure you not only vote on our question of the day by, again, scanning the QR code on your screen right now, but you can also head over to Facebook, leave a comment, and I will take a look at those updated results and read a few of your comments toward the end of the show. We are continuing coverage now on the legal battle between Peninsula Township in Grand Traverse County and the wineries of Old Mission Peninsula. Last week, we told you about a federal judge who ordered the township to pay the wineries nearly $50 million in damages. Well, today a special meeting was called to decide what the township board should do next. Ultimately, board members agreed that their next step would be to appeal the judge's order, acknowledging that with this decision, it would be impossible to please everyone. Our Allie Baxter was at the meeting and has more.
After 4 years, we're finally here to discuss the WOMP lawsuit decision and what to do next.
To appeal or not to appeal, that was the debate Monday afternoon at a Peninsula Township special meeting concerning its lawsuit with wineries within its borders.
That is not just a legal loss, it's a financial disaster.
The latest in a 4-year legal battle was a judge for the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Michigan ordering the township to pay millions in damages to the wineries.
This decision has opened a Pandora's box for our future. Is it now my understanding we can just sue the township when we don't like zoning that regulates us and how we want to grow our peninsula?
The board listened to an hour of public comment from township residents, some begging the township to
stand up and challenge this gross injustice.
Others pleading to stop what they call the waste of money fighting the wineries.
Instead, you've thrust this township into the national spotlight as a symbol of government overreach and handed it a self-inflicted black eye.
Another plea from the public was for the board to come to the table with the wineries for a compromise.
There has to be a way to negotiate with the wineries so that we do not continue lining the pockets of lawyers.
The difference of opinions and next steps at times led to a tense atmosphere.
After listening to some of these speakers, I was absolutely amazed at their lack of knowledge regarding this lawsuit.
To the person who said we don't know what's going on, I know what's going on more than you do because you didn't attend any of the hearings.
Some took the time to create a visual representation of how they feel the township had been misled into litigation.
This lawsuit and its damages could have been avoided if the township listened to its farmers. Instead, they listened to a few of the so-called Protect the Peninsula Pied Pipers, which you can see on the poster, who sold them a false bill of goods. So just like the rats of Hamlin, the board and the townspeople were led off the proverbial cliff. And let's hope this board has the guts to break free of the Pied Piper's spell.
That was our Allie Baxter reporting. And for more on this story, Allie is joining us live now from our content center. And Allie, we heard a lot of comments from a lot of different members of the community. Did the board themselves, they really kind of discuss what went into their decision to appeal, or did they just share that this was going to be their decision?
Yeah, Maya, so actually the board waited till after their closed session to discuss that a little bit more. We were there, of course, for the beginning of the meeting where a lot of people gave an hour of public comment. The board then said, hey, we're going to go into closed session and we're going to talk to our attorneys about this. So they were supposed to return at 1:30. They ended up not returning until around 2:45. So of course, a lot of things to discuss. This is a really big legal step to take, and a lot of people gave a lot of opinions whether the township board should go ahead and appeal that decision or say, hey, stop wasting our money. We really don't want this to continue any further. We don't want this to hurt us any longer as a township financially. Now, when the board came out, they did explain that we're going to go ahead, we're going to make this motion. We are following the advice of our legal counsel to appeal this decision because we feel like it's honestly the only chance we're going to get. That's what our legal counsel has told us. And it doesn't take negotiating with the wineries off the table, but we stand behind the advice of our legal counsel and we're going to go ahead and try to appeal this. And we think it's in the best interest financially of the township and its residents.
So with this decision to appeal, it sounds like this legal battle between the township and the wineries of Old Mission Peninsula is far from over.
Yeah, it does seem like it, right? And you would think after 4 years, maybe we'd be a little bit closer to some kind of resolution. It seems like that's still not going to happen, especially after the decision today to appeal. We already had different appeals kind of going back and forth from both sides over the last 4 years. The latest judgment, of course, is a pretty major one, nearly $50 million. I know kind of hearing that number kind of widens the eyes of a lot of people who are residents on Peninsula Township and trying to figure out how is our township going to pay for this because our municipality insurance doesn't cover up to $50 million. So that was kind of what was explained by the township officials today, by the board. They said it is financially wise of us to at least try to appeal this and see if, maybe we can get it a little bit lower. Maybe we can go into negotiations or mediation with the wineries at some point so we don't owe that much to them.
So it sounds like at this point, the township is just not ready to give up and hand over almost $50 million just yet.
Right, and I will say, Maya, we were watching the live stream once they did come back out of that closed session, and many of the township officials actually went on the record and said, I want it to be known that I stand behind this decision to appeal this, and I am proud of it, and I want the community to know that I am fighting for them, even though it seems like an unpopular decision, even after listening to a lot of public comment today that honestly was sharing that they didn't want this appeal process to continue. A lot of the board members said, hey, we really feel like this is the wisest thing for us to do.
And I'm sure with that decision, it also brought a lot of mixed reaction from the public. Did they get another chance to speak after the decision was made?
Yeah, there was a few people still sticking around at that point who had kind of taken a lunch, come back, and a few people kind of shared that same sentiment that they had before the closed session, saying, I stand behind the fact that I don't think our township should continue to potentially get us into a worse financial position because we do risk that in the appeal.
Anything else, Allie, that you want to mention that we haven't talked about yet when it comes to this decision or just, the atmosphere in general at the meeting, anything like that?
Yeah, I will say I was pretty surprised. In terms of people who showed up, there was a lot of people who just showed up to public comment and said, I'm not pro wineries, I'm not pro township, I am pro farmer, I am a just citizen here contributing to the conversation and saying, hey, I really don't like the position this is putting our farmers in by kind of trying to control the different things that the wineries are doing. You are also affecting the zoning of the farms as well, who are kind of trying to experiment and do some different things. That was another common sentiment shared today in public comment.
And did anyone who is with a winery speak about this decision?
I didn't see anyone come up and claim to be with some of the wineries. It was mostly people who in the past have been associated with Protect the Peninsula, who have kind of aligned themselves as an advocacy group with the Peninsula Township in this lawsuit. A few farmers and then a few people as well who again said, I'm not pro township, I'm not pro wineries, I'm pro a citizen who just doesn't want their taxes to go up as a result of this lawsuit and the damages we may have to pay.
Sure. All right, Allie, well, thanks so much for coming on Unscripted and going into a little more detail about what it was like being at that meeting today. A lot of, as we mentioned, mixed reaction, and as you mentioned, this legal battle is not quite over yet, so of course we will continue to keep our viewers updated on when the appeal is officially filed and where things go from there. But Allie, thanks so much again for joining us. We are going to take a quick commercial break now, but coming up next, we'll bring back in our Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix, have much more detail on your forecast for the rest of the week. He mentioned tomorrow will be a pretty hot one, but again, still a little haze in the sky. But what's in store for the rest of the week? He'll let you know in just a couple minutes.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, of course, the big story today weather-wise is the smoke and haze in the air that'll be sticking around for another day or so. But besides that, a really nice day. It's been, as sunny as it can despite that haze and warm. So, Joe, any rain in the forecast for our work week?
Yeah, I think not so much tonight or tomorrow, but as we get into the middle of the week, and then that's also going to bring in a little cooler weather too. Looks like the timing on that for rain, we're talking like Wednesday into Wednesday night, early Thursday. The best chance this week. Let's take a look, though. You see the sky there in Petoskey. Again, hazy skies, some smoke overhead. There's a little cloud cover mixed up in there, too. As you look out over Little Traverse Bay. I'm looking out there, too, at the pier out there. A lot of people out walking. You can see out there. You got to look real close, but enjoying the afternoon. Here's our air quality. It's not that great around the north, but I'll start with the smoke. Here's a look right now at the smoke, and we'll kind of run out the forecast on this. So later tonight, tomorrow, some of that smoke is still going to linger. It looks like for one more day, for Tuesday. And then that'll kind of dissipate and move off to the east. And by the time we head into Wednesday morning, we should have much better air quality across the Great Lakes. So we had the smoke yesterday, today, hazy skies, I still think tomorrow, but then Wednesday, some improvement. It's a warm evening out there. Here's a look at the current temperatures. Alpena still, as we inch in on 7 o'clock here, still 89 degrees. There, Grayling, Houghton Lake, West Branch, 85. The same right now at Mount Pleasant, Cadillac, currently at 84. There were a few showers. There was not a lot of rain. We actually have a very weak moisture-starved boundary kind of stuck over the area to the north. And so there have been a couple showers earlier south of Sault Ste. Marie. You can see one there near the Door Peninsula across Lake Michigan. We've had a little of the cloud cover blowing off in our direction, but that's it. And we're not going to see any more rain, it looks like now, the rest of the night. So what will happen, there's a front. I'll show you the surface map here real quick. North of Lake Superior, see that boundary, low pressure back up toward Winnipeg? That's the front that will drop in here midweek. And so what we're looking at, quiet weather tonight, tomorrow a hazy and in some cases hot day tomorrow. It'll be dry, lots of sunshine, and then watch upstream as that front starts to approach. Some big-time storms in the western UP, northwest Wisconsin tomorrow night. And then these will kind of work into the UP early Wednesday. And I think by Wednesday afternoon, we'll start to see that chance for some showers and thunderstorms around the region. That front dropping through here. There's Wednesday night rain. And then early Thursday, some lingering showers. So again, the timing, Wednesday night, early Thursday, and then cooler weather returns with highs back around 70 degrees, it looks like, by the time we head into Thursday, so a little cooler. Maybe heading to the beach tomorrow, a good day for 82 to 92, waves a foot or less, mostly sunny and hazy. And our extended forecast, there it is, some showers Wednesday night into Thursday, and then cooler weather. We go from near 90 in some spots down to 70 by Thursday, Maya.
Hey, 70 is still nice. Can't complain about that.
And a little less humidity, too. It'll be nice.
Lovely. All right, Joe, thank you so much for that. Let's take another quick break, but coming up next, we'll bring in our sports director, Harrison Beebe. He'll have a preview of the MLB All-Star Game happening tomorrow, featuring 6 Tigers. Straight ahead. Well, after getting swept by the Mariners at home, I think the MLB All-Star break is coming at a perfect time for this team. Although we know 6 players will not be taking a break. They will be competing in the All-Star game tomorrow. For more on that, let's turn things over to our sports director, Harrison Beebe, live in our content center. Hey, Harrison.
Yeah, my All-Star week kind of gets started tonight with the home run derby. No, you obviously pointed to tomorrow for the game because no Tigers will be competing tonight. In fact, I just did some research before the segment here. How long do you think it's been since the last Tiger participated in the home run derby?
I can't even remember the last Tiger. Was it like Victor Martinez?
Wasn't Victor, no.
I mean, like when I'm thinking like Brandon Inge that one year where he had like a couple of home runs.
He had a guy. I was working for Fox Sports Detroit that summer, and he had a great first half hitting home runs for that team. But yeah, went 0 for in the derby. No, the last Tiger to compete in the home run derby was Prince Fielder in 2013. He won it in 2012, competed to defend his title, didn't win in 2013, and that's it. We haven't seen another Tiger in the All-Star game since. Riley Green is in the top 8 in home run hitting in all the major leagues, but apparently isn't popular enough to get an invite to participate in this event. Having said that, it's still a pretty cool event to check out if you're a home run fan, which a lot of people are. And here's the lineup of Tigers that'll be on the field tomorrow night. And pretty cool announcement. Gleyber Torres and Riley Green are going to bat 1-2 for the American League to start the game for Team AL tomorrow. Javi Baez is going to bat 8th in the lineup. We know Casey Mize and Zach McKinstry are going to be reserves, so they'll hopefully factor into the game at some point. And Tarek Skubal getting the honors to be the starting pitcher for Team American League tomorrow night against Paul Skeens of the Pirates for the National League. So 4 Tigers are going to be starting in tomorrow night's All-Star game in Atlanta. Pretty cool for this team, even with 4 straight losses.
Pretty cool to finally see that Skubal-Skeens matchup happening that everyone wanted when the 2 teams played a few weeks ago. So good stuff happening tomorrow, Harrison. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing your highlights of it tomorrow as well. But that'll do it for sports. Harrison, thanks for joining us. Let's take another quick break. But coming up next, we'll take a look at the live results for our question of the day and read some of your comments. We have about 80 comments on Facebook. We will highlight a few of them straight ahead.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today has 310 votes. It is, do you agree with House Bill 4233 prohibiting certain foreign ownership of real estate, including timber and agricultural property in Michigan? As you can tell by the results on your screen right now, 95% are saying yes, they do agree with the House bill. Only 5% are saying no. We have almost 100 comments on Facebook. I'll read a few of those for you. Sue says, no other country should be able to buy land in this country, not just Michigan. Jeremy says, how does this align with the people that say the government can't tell them what to do with their property? Leah says land ownership in the U.S. should be only the privilege of a U.S. citizenship. And Kimberly says, especially valuable farmland and resources should not be for sale, especially to different countries. Join the conversation on our Facebook page. We're all out of time. Thanks so much for joining us on Unscripted tonight.